Right. Hello, hello, hello. Happy Wednesday, and welcome back to another episode of Astrology After Dark. And so, on tonight's episode, we're going to be talking about Saturn. Saturn is the planet of karma, and how Saturn can affect you just depending upon what house it is in, sign and house. But specifically tonight, we're going to focus on house and not sign. Alrighty, and so if you are new to me, to the stream, to the page, to the channel, my name is Katrice, and I am the Natal Chart Navigator, and I help open-minded individuals to navigate their lives using their birth chart and their numerology in a practical way. All right, so let's talk Saturn. Okay, so Saturn is one of the outer planets. Okay, and Saturn in astrology does not make things easy, okay? Saturn, no, wherever Saturn is placed at in your chart, it makes things difficult, okay? And so now, depending upon if you have Saturn in retrograde, that's a whole another thing. Saturn does not make things easy. And so Saturn is the taskmaster of the zodiac. Okay. Saturn commands you to get to work and to work hard. Discipline and responsibility are important to this planet. Okay. And so you're eager to get to something, to start doing something. Depending on where Saturn is, it can really hinder you. Now, as you grow older, because Saturn also rules old age, it rules retirement. Saturn rules career, job and career. And so, as you get older, things start to kind of let up. It gets a little easier for you. But Saturn can really restrict you, just depending upon where Saturn is placed in your chart. Okay. And so, let's see here. So the reason that Saturn limits you is because it's a lesson. Saturn is all about lessons. It's all about teaching you about lessons and teaching you what it is that you need to learn. And as long as once you learn the lesson, then Saturn will reward you. And when you look at Saturn in the birth chart, Saturn is it's like father time. Okay, father time, the father figure or the more dominant figure, um, within in the family structure. Okay. And so learning life lessons are key to Saturn, in keeping with its role as a teacher. And so it also rules like tradition, conventionality. Saturn is very mindful of these characters. It really hones in these characteristics. Okay. Now, it does, like I said, it does applaud your perseverance. So, as long as you are persevering and you are going, and the fact that you have withstood the time, so you've come across these obstacles and you've withstood the test of time. Saturn will reward you. It will reward you, and the rewards will be great. Okay. Structure and order and the way in which we conduct our affairs are all ruled by Saturn. Okay. Um, Contradiction and the reining in of assets are also ruled by Saturn, and Saturn is karma. Okay, it's karma and the lessons in which your past experiences might bring. Okay, and so one of the things when you put out energy into, you hear people talk about, oh, you got to watch the energy that you put out because it's going to come back to you, whether it's negative or positive. All of that's karma, and all of that is ruled by Saturn. Okay, now it takes 28 to 30 years for Saturn to complete its orbit of the zodiac. Okay, and so between 28 and 30, you have your what's called your Saturn return. Okay, and so during your Saturn return, that means that Saturn is going to be back within where it was when you were born. Okay. My Saturn is in Libra, and be 40 this year. So about 10 to 12 years ago, I had my Saturn return. Thinking back on it, it makes sense why a lot of stuff happened the way it did. um, and so, but your Saturn return, it is not easy. It just depends on where Saturn is, the aspects to Saturn, the sign that is in, the house that is in. All depends upon where it is. Okay. Now Saturn is masculine energy, and it does rule the signs of Capricorn and Aquarius. It is the traditional ruler of Aquarius. And then Uranus is the modern ruler of Aquarius. And it also does have some significations over the 10th house, which is the house of career, and the 11th house, which is society, like social groups and friends and, wishes and dreams coming true and everything. Okay. And so, what I want to do is I'm going to pull some charts. Well, just one chart. I'm going to pull a chart, and then I am going to kind of talk about what each house. Let's see here. Let's see. Hold on. Give me a minute. Okay, chart selection. Kind of want to show you. I don't know if I have a chart with Saturn in each house. Let me see. But I'm going to show you some charts so that you can see what Saturn looks like in the chart, and also going to kind of show you the aspects. Okay. So give me a minute. I'm going to pull this chart, and then we'll go from there. Now, if you would like me, if you have your information and you would like me to pull your chart, I definitely can do that. And you can just send $10 to my Cash App with your information, and I will pull your chart. All right. So, okay. So this is what natal chart looks like. If you are new to the show, this is what natal chart looks like. Okay. So this little symbol right here, it kind of looks like a H with a cross on the top. This is Saturn. Okay. So right now we are currently in Saturn retrograde. And so what this Saturn retrograde is giving us an opportunity to rethink, you know, rethink about how we're doing things, rethink about how we are structuring ourselves. It's giving us time to, anything that we may have been doing, to go back and rethink over it, to make the necessary changes that need to be made so that we, moving forward, things will work out more in our favor. Okay. And so when you have Saturn, whatever house it's in, okay, that is where the restriction will be. Okay. And so in this particular chart, Saturn is in the third house. Now, this is the house of communication. It is the station, early education. It's also the house of community, like your local community. It's the house of siblings. Um, let's see, siblings. Yeah, that's about it. I mean, it governs different things, but those are like the major things that this house covers. Okay. And so having Saturn in this house, it can restrict your like education. So like your early education when you were, in school, more so like kind of like elementary school. You may have been really, you may have had like a speech impediment, or you may have been dyslexic, just depending upon the aspects. You could have been dyslexic. You could have had, you may not have been You may have had issues with your siblings. You know, you and your siblings may not have gotten along really well. Um, you know, it also, because this is the third house, it does rule like you know, vehicles, you know, local travel vehicles. So, you know, when you were like, say, like 16, you know, time for you to go and get your driver's license, you know, you may not have, um, you know, passed your test. It might have took you a couple of, you know, a while for you to pass your driving test. Your friends might have passed on the first try. It may have took you a couple of tries to pass. Um, and so in the third house, it can affect your communication. Also, it can affect your thought process, depending on if Mercury is here. Like you can see in this chart, Mercury is here and it's conjunct Saturn. Okay, so when a planet is when it's conjunct, it's meaning that it is, the energies are more so blended together. And so you may have been kind of like restricted in a way, when it comes to your thought process. Now, if you can see here, like you look down here, there's a little R right here. That means that that was in retrograde at the time of this person's birth. And so, when a planet is in retrograde, the energies are processed more so internally than they are externally. Okay. And so this person's thought communication, this and communication, is different. They think a little, they think differently from, you know, the norm. They don't think like others. They may have a harder time processing things, or they may process things really really super fast. Saturn can also, wherever it is, it also makes you more serious. So a person that has Saturn in the third house, they're not going to be someone who enjoys small talk, because Saturn is not a planet that is all about small talk. Saturn is a more serious planet. Remember, it is that father figure or dominant parent energy. And so Saturn is in the third house, is not going to want, you're not going to want to just sit around and have small talk or have meaningless conversations. Whatever you're talking about, it needs to be, you know, something that's meaningful, something that is productive, where you are learning. This is all about learning in this house. And so you're going to want to be learning. You're not going to want to just be sitting around, you know, gossiping about people in this third. All right. And so let me show you a few more. Okay. I really love showing the charts so that you get to see, um, you get to see. Okay. And so this next one is going to be in the first house. Okay. All right. Now this is in the hold on, let me wait. Okay. So this here, this one is in the um first house. Okay. First house is the house of self. Okay. First house is the house of self, your appearance. Um, you know, it's all about you, it's all about what you put out into the world. And so Saturn in the first house, you have like a serious demeanor. Okay. Now this person's Saturn is retrograde. Okay. And so having your Saturn retrograde, okay, means that those energies are in, they're more internal than, you know, projected outward. So this person is very very hard on themselves. So if Saturn was not in retrograde, then this person would be somebody who is, you know, strict, and they're really really like a really strict, like really mean, I won't say mean, but really, you know, really orient achieve oriented, goal oriented, hard. It's kind of like having Saturn here is kind of like being a Capricorn rising. And so with Saturn here in the first house and in its retrograde, it makes you very, very, very hard on yourself. You're very, and if you like, you got to be the best, because Saturn is all about achievement. And so you got to be the best. And if you're not the best, you're gonna be really, really hard on yourself. You're really, really gonna, you know, it's gonna be a real, real issue if you are not the best. And so again, as you get older and you come up on your Saturn return, it does ease up some, but child, before your Saturn return, it just makes you like really, really hard on yourself, really, really achievement oriented. Um, and you have to be okay. Now there ask do I know you probably see all down here. There's all these little symbols. These are what's called aspects, okay? And the aspects are the relationships between the planets. And so if the red, if you see these red ones, those are more of challenging. I'll say they're negative aspects. They're more of a challenging energy. They make the relationship between the planets are more challenging. Okay, the blue here, these are more favorable aspects. So the energies they work better with each other. Okay, all right. And let's see if I can find. I want to find one. Okay. Let's look at one in the 11th house. Okay, 11th house is one of the houses that is 11th house is one of the houses that Saturn does kind of rule. Okay, so in this house here, okay, 11th house is the house of it's what I call the humanitarian house. It's the house of friends and I won't say close friends, but more so like acquaintances or social groups, the houses of dreams coming true, and things like that, your humanitarian pursuits and things like that. Okay, and so having Saturn here in this house, now as you can see, this person has a lot of Scorpio energy. And Saturn also is the chart ruler because they are a Capricorn rising. And so Capricorn risings are ruled by Saturn. And so they are, they have a very serious demeanor and they tend to take things very literally. Okay. So if you're talking to somebody that's a Capricorn rising, they tend to take things very literally. And so when you say something, you have to remember that they're going to take it literally. If you mean it figuratively, they're going to take it literally. And they may look at you like, that don't make sense. um, but here, having Saturn here in the 11th house, it makes it hard for you when it comes to, your social groups, when it comes to you making friends, because it restricts your friend it was just like your friend making ability, if that makes sense. So, like, it's not that you're not a friendly person. It's not that you are not, or you're not a loyal person, or you're not a good person. It's just that it makes it hard for you to connect. Wherever Saturn is, it makes things harder. Okay. And so it makes it hard for you to connect with others. People, you may be bullied. um, Having it here in the fifth house is our houses where you may be bullied. um, Having Saturn in those houses, you may get bullied. And so and just in upon the aspects as well. Now look here, um, the Saturn aspects, um, they have a few, but they're not really bad aspects. Um, they're not like they have like a few challenging aspects, Saturn challenging aspects. Having it here conjunct the sun, having Saturn conjunct the sun, it does make them and then their rising is Capricorn. Makes them a very serious person, a very goal-oriented person. They're all about goal. They're all about achievement. They're all about you know, status. And they would be the person in the friend group who is the leader, or who is like the little, you know, the more dominant friend in the friend group. Okay. And then I'm gonna do one more. Let me see if I can find one in the seventh house. Mm, okay, this is a good one. I'll do one in the eighth house. Um, and then this will be the last one. Okay, so this one here in the eighth house. Okay, this one is really challenging, because the eighth house is the house of intimacy. It is the house of sex. It is the house of other people's possessions, death, inheritance, taxes, um, all of those things. This house has significations that with Scorpio. And then they also have Pluto in this house, which is modern ruler of Scorpio, and it is their Saturn. And so, in having Saturn in this house, it can make it really hard for you to open up to your partner. It can make it hard for you to be intimate with your partner. You not saying that you won't have sex, but it could make it to where, um, you know, when you're talking about sex is more so like a spiritual connection with your partner. And so having Saturn here can can really restrict that connection that you have with your partner. Um, Also, Saturn here, you can have there can be like issues with like money. So say like if you're married and you have your partner here, you have Saturn here, there may be financial issues. You may not be able to um you may get with somebody who has financial problems, and they don't know how to manage their money, and so that affects you, or you may have to be the one to manage the money, but some kind of way they still might be able to fuck the money up. Or then this person also has their Saturn conjunct their Mars. Mars is the planet of action and desire. And so, and both of these are in retrograde, which meaning that Saturn restricts their desire. So they don't have a desire to really like be um, more so in a partnership. Like they're okay being in a partnership, but they'll be okay whether they're in a partnership or not. Partnership for them is not something that is really something that they crave. They don't crave being in a partnership. Um, they're okay with being by themselves. Um, you know, and or they can be somebody who's really like they're really nitpicky. They're really like they could just always be like hard, like you did this wrong and you do this and you do that, and so it can make them, they can be really serious and really like not I won't say loving, but they just aren't very uh romantic, like, and the sign placement does matter as well. Libra is all about partnership, and Saturn does love being in Libra. Saturn is exalted in Libra. So when you have Saturn in Libra, it does kind of help a little bit with the harshness of Saturn. Libra is all about justice, and so is Saturn. That's the energy that Saturn is about justice as well. And so it does, kind of help with that placement, but you definitely want to when you're getting in a partnership, you want to watch. um it makes you not want to, you may have a problem with intimacy, or you may be uh, promiscuous, very promiscuous, but there's no emotional attachment. Like it's just sex for you. There's no real emotional closeness or anything to that effect. So it can go either way um, when you have Saturn in the eighth house. All righty. All right. So that is Saturn. And so I hope you found value in this live video. If you in this live stream, if you did, go ahead, share it out so that others can find value. If you're watching this on YouTube, give it a like. If you found value, give it a like, and also subscribe and hit the bell so that you get notifications every time I do go live or upload a video. And now, if you are looking to, get a reading, we are in Saturn retrograde. Okay, we're also in Neptune retrograde and Jupiter retrograde, and Chiron is a retrograde. So, if you are looking to, make some changes in your life, and you're like, you know what, I'm just feeling like, things are different. I'm feeling like I need to make some changes, but I don't know which way, you know what I'm saying, I need to go. You can definitely book a career reading with me. Okay. All the information is in the comments or the description box. And so you can definitely book a reading with me, and figure out what it is that to try to figure out what it is that you want. Now, when you do book the reading, let me know what it is that you're looking for. And, what type of information are you looking for me to give you so that I can make sure I hone in exactly on what it is that you're trying to figure out. All right. And so I hope you guys have it rest of your evening. And remember, the possibilities are endless. If you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand, and that right there should make you smile. Have a great one.